So, I want to talk to you about the idea of no mind. I'm a big fan of old samurai literature and samurai ideas, as well as Shaolin, and you name any warrior culture, and I've probably at least looked at it, if not read something on it. And it's a thought I've been having because we see this all over the place. When I was at the Elliott Hulse non-job conference, meetup, whatever you want to call it, last weekend, one of the things he was talking about is, just kind of the idea of just individuality and all that, and he said that, it's like jazz, where you spend all these years learning all the rules, and then you forget them, turn them on their ass, turn backwards. And one of the ladies in the among the audience, mentioned it's the same thing. She worked in advertising. It's the same thing. They say you go to school, you learn all these rules for advertising and artwork and all that, and then you flip them on their ass and you go with what you feel. And now in the martial arts, we do the same thing as you do in music, as you do in advertising, as you do in art. It is all about feeling out the moment. In the movie The Last Samurai, they shallowly explain it when Tom Cruise, Captain Algren, is training with the sword in the field, and one of the samurai's name is escaping me. Anyway, he comes over to him as Cruise is having a bad day, and he says, "Too many mind. Mind the people watch, mind the sword, mind your opponent. Too many mind, no mind." Well, it just so happens that that's not just double talk. It's actually been a confirmed psychological aspect of humanity. We actually study this phenomenon, and they find that once you have learned the fundamentals that you need to learn and taken them in, because in many senses you can't do anything without understanding what you're doing. But as soon as you understand it, you have to forget it, because focusing on it takes you from it's your RAM, your random access memory. They call it your working memory. It takes you out of your working memory, or puts a greater load on your working memory, and it basically puts you in a state of lag. And it's like flipping through a Rolodex, trying to desperately find a phone number out of 1,000 numbers, and do so in under a second. It's nearly damn impossible. Last week I was working on a series of techniques involving Foxao, and it's a technique we do from day one in Wing Chun. Foxao is the simplest of moves. I mean, it can be equated to the karate knife hand. It is an outward strike, specifically in Wing Chun. It means whisking hand, if you wanted to know. It is a technique I have done thousands of repetitions of. The technique is not the problem, but putting together a series of moves. You see, in Wing Chun we have a philosophy of fan sao, of continuing, repeating, attacking and attacking, control and attack, over and over and over again, because we don't want to give our opponent a second chance to strike. Well, the problem is that to break ourselves of patterns and routines, we have to explore all options and not just a few comfortable options. And despite the fact that this is a technique that I've done 100,000 times, for some reason putting it in series that we were doing was incredibly difficult for me to wrap my brain around, because I started focusing on it. But as soon as I entered into conversation with my training partner, I was just doing it. And in the particular study that I'm citing, which quite frankly I pulled off of a Cracked article, it's an actual study. I just happened to have noticed in our Cracked article, or Cracked article. They're actually talking about singing. Singing actually, or humming, while you're doing your thing, takes your mind away from the working memory and allows you to just do the damn thing. That's important. And whether you choose to sing and hum, or whether you choose to go the classical Asian approach and simply become the no mind, become the void, however you choose to do it, don't focus on it. You could say, well, you could say it in any number of ways, and I'm not a particularly poignant person. So all I want to leave you with is this idea of learn what you need to learn, internalize it, and then forget it. Just forget it. Let your body do what it has to do. In fact, at the last seminar that I had with Grandmaster Samuel Kwok, he mentioned that after you make first contact in a fight, there are no more techniques. You just hit the guy. It's the same idea. You have to trust that your training is going to do what it needs to do. You have to learn to trust your training so that you don't have to sit there and think about it. You don't have time in a conflict, a crisis situation, to do math, to do angles and all that. It has to come instinctually, because if it doesn't, it just takes too long when you enter into that lagging working memory state. So that's all I got for you. And it's actually why I pull out the guitar for you, because I want you to understand that even when I'm playing, it's all just whatever pops in my head. If it sounds like shit, it sounds like shit, and I move on to the next note, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But when it does matter, it's okay, because if you trust what you've learned, you don't need to second guess it and guide it along the way. It's like holding the hand of your skills. You let your skills grow up and mature. You don't have to hold their hand the whole way through. Trust them to be there when you need them. And let it go. I will talk to you guys later. Good journey.